This live martial arts or self-defense discussion, I want to talk about who's coming to save you and will they get there in time. This seems like, there's violence incoming, uprising, increasing everywhere we look. There was a lot of shootings this weekend here in the States. We had it at a university. There was a famous beach in Australia this weekend. We see violent attacks on the subways. We see them on the buses. We see them in the streets. We see in places like London, groups of thugs attacking and pushing back the police officers and physically able to get away with beating them, throwing things at them. We see the Antifa thugs. We see all of the different groups of people around the world who are in the margins for whatever reason. Either they're criminals or they're from broken societies or broken aspects of society, right? And or they're just thugs and they're coming after innocent people like ourselves. And so the question is, who's coming to save you, and will they be there fast enough? Will they be there in time to save you? Think about, like, if we were talking about like a medical event. If your house is on fire, but you've gained 685 pounds and you're lying in bed because you can't walk, and the fire department's there to save you and get you out of the burning building, did you help them by allowing yourself to be extracted? Are you physically fit enough to get up and walk yourself out, get out of a burning building? Or are you in a situation where you're completely helpless because of, you let your health go to pot or whatever it is? And that's the basic idea about self-defense. What is self-defense? Are you learning self-defense, martial arts, whatever it is, to go out and beat people up, to have street fights? Or are you thinking in terms of, what do I need to be able to do to get me to a certain level where I can then defend myself until the cavalry comes? When I think about security and my job is to deter and prevent and keep people out of the campuses, keep people away long enough for the entire cavalry, which is all the police department, to swarm and come in and help us out with all of their advanced training and equipment and materials and communications and all of their stuff and all of their bodies, right? So we have the job, the duty to preserve and protect and defend and deter, to seal and repel, as they said about our border when Pete Hegseth took over the Department of Defense at the time. Now I think it's the Department of War. But the idea was, how do you create a mindset for yourself in self-defense to be able to stand in the gap for yourself and your family until law enforcement gets there, the cavalry gets there, the military gets there, whomever it is who should be coming to help and protect you long enough to defend. And what do you think about that? This is a discussion. It's a question. I want to know what you think. What's your responsibility to be able to take care of yourself? What skills and principles and techniques can you practice and learn and be able to employ at whatever level you are? So level of training, age, experience, physical ability, all of these things are really important to consider. What can you do, what can you pour into to make yourself a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, a little bit more agile, a little bit more resilient, a little bit tougher, a little bit whatever it is? What are those things that you need to do? Maybe it's learning how to use a self-defense tool. One of my favorites is this new Selfy-Stick. It's just a palm stick. You squeeze it hard, punch somebody in the face, break his jaw because you have this fist load. You can jab with it. You can thrust with it, striking pressure points in the soft tissue of the body. What I mean to say is where the nerve endings are, like in the face, to move them out of you or out of your face. You can learn how to use this. Something like this is a little bit bigger version. This is one option. Maybe it's deciding to carry something like this if you're able to, pepper gel. And I carry pepper gel professionally because if I'm inside one of our buildings, I don't want to make it unusable for the rest of the day if I have to employ it, and then we can go back to business. When I use pepper spray and it gets up into the heating and cooling system, it's going to be there for a couple days until we can air it out, right? Pepper gel I like a little bit better because it comes out as a gel and it will stick on his face for self-defense. So can you carry something like pepper gel and make yourself a more capable self-defense person? You're able to defend yourself and your family until the authorities get there to protect you. So we see, and I'm not saying that like in the case of the shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia, that pepper spray would have helped in that situation where one guy's got a shotgun, one guy's got a long gun, and they had prepared to use it. They knew what they were doing. And obviously, we know that it ended, if you looked at the story, when another gentleman who was in the area confronted the attacker, grabbed and pulled the gun away from him, and then he ended up getting shot by the guy's dad because it was a father-son duo for whatever reason. Ideology, right? Whatever. But so we know that there are things that you can do. This man was completely unarmed. He didn't even have the pepper gel. He didn't have the Selfy-Stick. He ran up, confronted the shooter, pulled it out of his hand. He waited his time, ended up getting taking a couple of wounds from, I think the other guy had the shotgun. But the point is, he did something. He did something instead of waiting for, and they say it was like 10 minutes or more. I don't even know what the real numbers are. The first thing I heard was it was 40 minutes and 10 minutes. In the Brown University shooting, they still don't know, I think. They're still looking for the person that they think shot all those people. But again, we see these attacks everywhere. We're seeing all kinds of violence increasing. I think it's because the world is in a crazy spot right now, and things are a little bit more crazy as far as like people are stressed out about money. A lot of people are losing jobs. The world is changing, the way people can make money. The cost of everything has gone up and making it difficult for people to live. At the very bottom, there's a lot of drug use that's being pushed onto people. So a lot of people are falling out of the bottom. You have a lot more addicts on the street who are, they've given up on themselves in life, sadly, and they've become more violent. There's a lot more mental illness that's made worse by all the drugs, and those people sometimes are attacking innocent people. In the subway, there was a woman in the bookstore in Portland. The man spit on her and said, I have COVID. Her husband did nothing. And then they waited for the police to come and save them. They never came. The police were never called because the store doesn't call the police when a crazy addict spits on, which is assault, and physically attacks someone. They don't do anything, which is my point. Who's coming to save you, and are they going to get there in time? And if you take the idea that you're responsible for your own security, the security of your family, you're your own personal security detail leader, and you're responsible for yourself, your wife, your child, your grandchild, the people around you. Do you stand by if someone gets attacked? We saw there was a woman and a man in Colombia. They look like backpackers, right? And they're on the street near a vendor. Maybe it was in front of a bank or something. She was probably trying to get some money out. She had her phone out. A man comes up with a knife and tries to take her phone. And the man who's with her, she starts fighting this guy off. She took responsibility for her own security and safety. I don't know if it's instinctive or if she had planned it, or she said, not me, man. I was going to cuss. Not me, buddy. And then she fought back. And then the man who was with her shrinks like a little, shrinking violet, shrinks away and hides behind a wall and does one of these. And it's, similar to the guy who spit on the lady in Portland, and her husband did nothing to protect his own wife. And so the question is to you, what would you do? How are you preparing? What types of things can you do? If you haven't thought about it, start thinking about it, because you might need it. Maybe you never will, right? But maybe it's as simple as staying fit enough. And I'm not saying like if you're at a level of age or a level of disability or challenge where your body has changed, because I recognize that as we get older, these things happen, where you're not as vibrant, you're not as fast, you're not as agile, you're not as fit. Can you do something and get a little bit more fit? Can you get off the phone a little bit more? Can you get it off of the couch and away from the TV? Can you put less garbage into your mouth, which makes your body unhealthy, and start to eat more lean protein and things like that? I don't mean lean protein. I eat fatty protein for myself. But what I mean is more health foods, more foods that make your body stronger on the inside and the outside, your mind sharper. Can you drink more water? Can you break some habits, get rid of the cigarettes, get rid of the vape, stop vaping the weed for those of you who do that? which slows your brain down and makes you complacent or whatever it is, right? I'm not going to get too preachy, but whatever you can do, are you doing it in a way that you're taking personal responsibility so that you don't become the victim? We say prepare or perish, prepare or panic. You're not prepared. And we say the sheeple, right? Don't be one of the sheeple. The sheeple do nothing. And we talk about the sheepdog and the sheep, right? The concept of the sheepdog and the sheep. The sheepdog's the protector. She, to be a he or a she, they keep themselves fit. They learn to fight. They learn to defend. They learn the principles of self-defense. They learn situational awareness, close with and destroy, target acquisition. What can you remove or destroy? They learn how to do some simple techniques, palm strikes, elbow strikes. They use things like this Selfy-Stick. Maybe it's a cane master's self-defense cane. This thing is lethal. It can be for self-defense. It's very effective. One of my favorites that I carry, these are slash and puncture proof gloves, right? Slash and puncture proof gloves. You put these on and you punch somebody in the face. It's like having a fist load because they're heavy. And if you had to shield yourself, if they did have a blade and they're slashing or stabbing and you had to shield, you can at least protect some of the soft tissue in your face. Maybe all this stuff here in your neck and your face, your eyes, you know, your nose, your mouth, your teeth inside the body. And then you can smash them back and push them off. So what can you do? Improvised self-defense tool, a carabiner, one of these locking carabiners that don't open, and then you carry that in your fist, turn it around like that, and it's not brass knuckles, but for less than $5, it can be effective. Maybe it's one of my favorite improvised self-defense, the Hex Nut Monkey Fist. The Monkey Fist can go here into your hand. Now it's a fist load. You can bring it out, you can swing it, and it becomes like a flail, and you can smash someone in the face. Maybe it's just your bike lock for self-defense. But you start to think in terms of what can you carry with you that you can employ and give yourself more strength. All these are force multipliers, taking what you have naturally, something like this, squeezing it. There's you are. It's the same as the Selfy-Stick. Not as nice. The Selfy-Stick's much more nice, but the Kubotan keychain. And I saw a guy one time online, one of these so-called experts, who said that Kubotans are crap or something. I think he used the other word. And people fight with him, can't fight. I don't know what he said. Something silly like that. Maybe clickbait. I don't know. Maybe he believes it. But he also said situational awareness. I have a friend, we talk about, every time we talk about something else, this guy comes up. Can you believe that guy said that about... Because so many people in law enforcement, that's the first thing that they teach. And they teach it for a reason. If you're, get off your phone, stick it in your bag, stick it in your pocket, pay attention. I was talking to someone one time. They were FaceTiming me from the subway in New York the morning of an attack. And they're like, oh, I'm right here at the same station where such as the guy got pushed onto the train tracks this morning. Like, well, what are you doing? Get off your phone. Put your phone in your pocket. You know, at least stand with your back up against the wall and look up like this. Don't be doing one of these. Situational awareness. Pay attention. Get off the phone. And I always say look up. I mean, look straight. Look ahead. Use your peripheral vision. When you look down at your phone, not only does your brain go there, but your peripheral vision shrinks. You can't see anything until it's already smashed you in the back of the head. But if you look up and you need to look at your phone, maybe you're using the map app where you have to communicate with somebody, you hold it up like this. That way, and you bring it up to you. That's how I look at my watch. And I know it might look silly, but I do that for a reason. I don't want to lose vision of what's around me at any time, especially not while I'm at work. I don't let my guard down for a second. And something might not ever happen, but somebody might be watching and seeing the posture that I have, that you have, the posture of self-protection, that you take it seriously, that you're always paying attention, that you're always ready, that you've kept yourself mostly fit in a way that you can defend yourself, that you've learned how to carry your body, that you've learned how to cover up, that you've learned how to move your head and your body together, to do a little bit of, you've thrown some hands, you've thrown some elbows, you've thrown some palms, you've maybe thrown some knees in your life. You've learned how to stop someone taking you to the ground. You've learned how to fight with some of these simple improvised self-defense tools. you know, and then, let alone conceal carry. I'm not concealed. I'm open carry right now because I'm still working. I'm on break. But where I go on the weekends, I went to Target yesterday. Outside of the Target store, there were 5 sheriff's cars, 5 sheriff's deputies, were 5 sets, because I think they were in pairs of 2. 5 sets at the Target taking care of business. And it's, yeah, Jim says, be prepared. California successfully removed his right to own a firearm 45 years ago. Now he has to use the Byrna, LA Byrna. That's a great option. The Byrna, if you don't know what it is a pepper ball gun. And it's like a paintball, but inside is pepper spray, pepper gel, and it hits like, you know, and it's not as good as a gun. Yeah, Fred says, pray before you leave the house. I pray every morning when I wake up. I pray for a hedge of protection around my family. I pray to God to give me the strength, the wisdom, the foresight, the eyesight, the physical ability, the endurance to protect the people that I'm responsible for protecting all day, because that's my job, and that's my duty, and that's my job as a husband. I pray for protection over my wife. I pray for protection of my kids. So I believe in prayer, 1,000%, Fred. I'm with you 1,000,000%. Prayer works. I say that all the time because I've been the beneficiary of prayer so many times in my life. Prayer does work. But whatever it is, whether you have, you carry something, I teach you how to fight with sticks all the time. You carry sticks with you, or you train with sticks, so that if you had to, you could pick up a stick. You can make a stick. I had one here somewhere. It's a magazine. You can roll your stick up. I've got my expandable baton in the floor of the car there because I was going to make a video for you last week and I ran out of time. We'll make that one here coming up. Jim says, loves the videos, ordering cane suit. Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate that. But what can you do? Are you waiting for someone to come save you? And are they going to get there fast enough? Stop waiting. And I'm not saying you have to be Superman, Superwoman. I'm not saying you have to be Muay Thai, that you have to be Brock Lesnar fighting. You don't have to be SEAL Team 6. You don't have to do all of these things. You just have to get a little bit, you have to, it's mostly mental, right? We've said that for millions of years. Fighting is mostly mental. Self-defense is mostly mental. And that doesn't mean it's not very physical, though. That doesn't mean you're not going to be gasping for air. And I was talking to one of my friends today. He's law enforcement. And he was telling me about a recent situation. He's about my age. He's been a cop for years and years and years. He's physically fantastic shape. But he said, I got into a life or death tussle with a guy recently. And he said, I was afraid I was going to lose. And then he said, and after, I couldn't move for like 4 days. And that's a reality. So can you, what can you do to keep yourself as physically fit as you can in case you need it? And it's like we have a saying in school shootings that there's or active shootings. There was a statistic for a while. I think it's changed. I think it's worse now, sadly. But there's 7 people get shot every minute. And so if the local law enforcement respond in 3 minutes, that's 21 people. Which 21 kids are you going to pick, right? And that's unacceptable. That's a no-fail mission, in my opinion. You cannot operate for, we just have to wait 3 minutes until they come. No way, man. You better be fighting to kill whatever's coming after you. My favorite quote by Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was a motivational speaker, and he always said, whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your family, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your child, you threaten it back. And this idea that always pops in my head is, how can you become dangerous to the threat? How can you become more dangerous so much? It's like an old saber-toothed tiger, an old wolf, right? That mangy old wolf, but he still has the teeth and he still has a little bit of fight in him left so that nobody wants to mess with him. How can you be that person so that you have just a little bit in you that to call upon? And it's not just will, it's not just knowledge and experience, but what can you physically, what can you do? Can you trade some sitting on the couch for some, walk around the neighborhood, or hold on to the back of the chair and do some assisted squats, or use the couch, the back of the couch, or the counter. Like I used the counter to do some standing push-ups. It's not the push-ups I did in the Marine Corps. I still do a lot of those, but I supplement because I just don't have the time. And honestly, I hate getting down and up anymore because my hips hurt, but I do a lot of push-ups off the back of the couch or off the thing while I'm watching TV, or on the counter while I'm making breakfast for the kids in the morning. What can you do to give yourself that little bit of edge so that you can fight, so that you don't have to worry about or always rely on, like the guy in the story of the young man and the woman in Portland where they were waiting for the manager to come and take care of this man and call the police for the man that spit in his wife's face, instead of flying across the restaurant and choking the guy half to death in honor and in defense of his wife's honor and dignity and her physical well-being, because that was assault. Or in the case of the other one, the backpacker, where the man's coming at the girl with a knife, trying to steal something from her, trying to assault her, and the other man, the boyfriend or whatever he was, is hiding behind the thing so he doesn't get hurt. Don't be in that situation. I mean, I would much rather get injured and pummeled than, Jim says don't ever answer the cops if they start questioning you without your lawyer. Amen. And that's just good. That's good legal advice. I'll tell you, having been a law enforcement, a cop, police officer in the military, and working with cops, and they'll tell you themselves, cops will lie to you. They're allowed to lie to you, right? There's FBI will lie to you. They'll all lie to you to try to get you to admit something or say something or incriminate yourself. And I'm not against cops. I love them, and I think that they do a fantastic job, and they often get beat up by society. But what I'm saying is, if you do have to defend yourself, don't say anything. Just say, hey, I was defending myself. You say it over and over. Self-defense. And if you do it right, that's what it is. We're not going out looking for fights. I'm not advocating any of these things that you use to hurt anybody. I'm saying if you had to defend yourself because you don't know who's coming to save you. And what we've seen in these cases with, 10 minutes at least. And I saw something the other day, the Las Vegas shooting that happened here years ago at a country concert. I think Jason Aldean was on the stage, and a guy was up in the room, and he just starts killing people from this room. And I forget how many minutes, but it went on for a long time. When they had the shooting in Nashville, the transgender chick there's a girl who thought she was a boy, but she shot up the Covenant School in Nashville, and they celebrated, we killed her in 12 minutes. When I went back to Dayton to clean out my office before I moved down here to Florida, that same night they had a shooting at Ned Pepper's, in front of Ned Pepper's, which is this area that my wife and I used to go to on a Friday night. I think it was a Friday or a Saturday night. And this kid got out of his car. He had dropped his sister and her friend off, shoots them first, and then shoots another, I forget what it was, 20-some people, 19, 20, killed 11 or 12 in 37 seconds. The cops engaged that guy and killed him in 37 seconds. I think it was less than 40 seconds. But the point is, so many people can get hurt in the meantime. So many people can die and lose your life. You could lose your life in the meantime. But what are you doing to take personal responsibility for your own security and safety? Yes, we want the military to protect us. Yes, we want law enforcement to do a good job and protect us. We want laws in our country that are enforced by reasonable people and reasonable laws that protect us from the criminals who want to steal our treasure, our life, our freedom, our dignity, and we want to protect against that. We want the young men and women that we hire to do those jobs while they're in the prime of their life to be able to do those and not feel like they're going to get in trouble because they did their job. We want that society, and at the same time, we don't always have that, right? We went through a whole period of time where they beat up the cops, and I can tell you for a fact, working with cops, that they're understaffed, and the new cops coming in are not always the same as the old ones, and that's local law enforcement and federal law enforcement. There's been a lot of change in the last 10 years for the worse, and it's not a good situation. And so if you're waiting for the cavalry to come, and hopefully they're coming, right? But maybe there's not enough of them. Maybe it's not the right ones. Maybe it's like I talked to someone recently, it's like everything else in life. We have a team. Some of the people on the team don't pull their own weight. Maybe. And when I was a cop in the military, in the Marine Corps 100 years ago, that was the truth then. I served with some shitbag dudes who did not do a good job, and I apologize for my language, but we had worse words than that for them. But they weren't the best guys. You didn't want them coming to protect you if they even showed up. But, how do you take personal responsibility? What do you do? What skills can you learn? What techniques can you learn? What can you train daily? What foods can you eat to keep yourself healthy and lean and fit as much as you can for the age that you are? Because we are constantly changing, and that's a fact of life. Bodies change, minds change, our abilities diminish in certain ways. But does that mean we have to just give it up and sit on the couch and be like so many of our peers that you see, and they shuffle around the Walmart waiting for their prescriptions, the 38 prescriptions to come up, and they got a bag of chips, and they got they ate cheeseburgers for lunch, and they're stuffing their face full of, I don't know, whatever they're stuffing, ice cream or something. You get my point. I think you get my point. Anyway, if you need a nice Christmas or Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah, by the way. Sadly, it started rough, but God's truth is bigger than evil, that the evil one takes these broken people and spins them up and gets them to do these evil, demonic behaviors. God's still in charge, and Hanukkah has just started. So happy Hanukkah if you celebrate Hanukkah. Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If you're looking for a gift, the Selfy-Stick, I put a link in the description. I think there's a link on the video if you want to see what these are. The black one's pretty cool. It's longer. You can get it in green or black, either size. This is my personal favorite. I just like the size of it. I like the way it feels in my fist. You can punch and hit hard. Someone said, don't punch with your knuckles, you'll break your knuckles. Possibly, but maybe you'll break his jaw and he'll get out of your face, and you'll be safe, and you'll protect your child or your grandchild or your wife or your husband or yourself. You got to do something. That's my point. But let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Is it your responsibility? What do you do to prepare yourself, to train, to be ready to defend, so that you don't have to wait? Or while you're waiting, you can stand in that gap and protect the ones behind you, or slow them down enough that by the time the cops come, or the military or the cavalry or whoever's coming, right? Maybe it's your buddies, maybe it's your brothers, maybe it's your family. Whoever gets there in your defense, get there, and then you're still on your feet fighting, or at least you're still fighting, even if you're not on your feet. And then they can swoop in, and then that's all you needed. You just needed to stand in the gap. So how do you stand in the gap? What do you do to do that? Let me know in the comment sections. I'll see you guys in the next